Storm chances are going up through the weekend. You can thank a cold front for that. What's going on, guys? I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We're going to take a look at the timeline of Central Florida and then through the entire state of Florida when it comes to the storm chances that are going to go up over the next couple of days. We'll show you a future radar. Then we're going to break down our pinpoint forecast for North Florida, Central Florida, and South Florida, and then we are going to talk about the tropics, of course. Still venturing through the peak of hurricane season. Lee is still out there, not coming to Florida. It's still not coming to Florida, although some comments on this channel would suggest otherwise. It's not happening. We are going to be talking about the waves generated by Lee. That's more than 800 miles away from the coast of Florida. Before we get into the video, if you do want to stay updated on all things Florida weather and the tropics as we venture through the peak of hurricane season, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that. Give it a thumbs up, too, if you find this content helpful. Here we go, 4 or 5 o'clock on your Thursday evening. We're going to see storms start to come back at us again. Heating of the day, sea breeze, thunderstorms. There's 6 or 7 o'clock, still dealing with a few of those, especially to the west of Orlando, closer towards the I-75 corridor, really focusing on the same areas that we've seen over the past couple of days. Some of those linger late again, especially around and along I-75. As we get into Friday morning, I think we start things off dry, but then that's when we start to increase our storm chances, especially for the second part of the day. You see things really start to fill in, especially into North Florida, and we will take a look at the statewide view in a second, but you see all the storms up there, and then for us along the I-75 corridor west of Orlando, and that flare-up. I think to start your weekend, there's Friday at 11 o'clock. Some of these storms also going to linger late from the Orlando area towards the Villages into Bushnell for Lakeland as well, as we're going to be watching those storms again get going. High temperatures on your Friday, pretty typical for where we should be for this time of the year. Back to the upper 80s and lower 90s, 89 in Kissimmee. We're at 87 degrees in Melbourne. Things are changing because of this cold front now. We are not going to be the beneficiary, at least most of Florida anyway, of cooler and drier weather. The front is going to kind of get stalled out as it moves down the peninsula and give us the opportunity, that extra trigger mechanism to get those thunderstorms going and to enhance the thunderstorms. But here is our front as of early Thursday afternoon. We look at the dew point temperature. It's the amount of moisture in the air, essentially. And the lower the number, the more comfortable you are. You don't want to get too low. Wintertime stuff, it's really dry. But nonetheless, once you're in that 50-ish zone, that's where it is nice and comfy. We're seeing that from Nashville back to Little Rock. We are, of course, still in the thick of it. It's still September. It's still summer in Florida. 75-degree dew points in Orlando and Jacksonville. That is that rich tropical feel that we have for a lot of the summer. So we're not going to get rid of that. But what that front is going to do as it moves into North Florida is act as that trigger mechanism, that forcing, that extra push, if you will, to get those storms going. So here how it plays out. There's 4 o'clock again on your Thursday from the statewide view. We have a few storms down and around Miami by 7 o'clock, a few trying to sneak in through Jacksonville, and then the aforementioned storms as we get towards Central Florida, once we get back into the latter stages of Thursday. So here we go at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Most of the state is going to be dry, and then you see what happens. We get storms erupting in South Georgia through the panhandle of Florida by dinner time. There's 4 or 5 o'clock. There are the storms that are trying to fire up again through Central Florida and then all the way down through interior South Florida as well. Continuing to keep these storms going relatively late into your evening as well on Friday. There's the I-75 corridor again, and a lot of storms around as we have the East Coast sea breeze trying to push everything west. You have that front coming down from the north. There's a lot working together to get these storms going Thursday into Friday. So for your pinpoint forecast for North Florida, again, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 80s. Rain chances for your Friday, again, pretty high. 70% shot for storms in Tallahassee, 60% chance in Panama City. Cedar Key, we're looking at a 40% shot for storms once we get into Friday afternoon and evening, especially. Ocala, we're talking about a 60% shot for storms. High temperatures back to the upper 80s. Average high temperatures in Central Florida hanging tight around 90 degrees. So we're going to be right around there, give or take, mainly take. I think a lot of us are going to struggle to get out of the upper 80s with the extra cloud cover around, but storm chances, again, pretty high as we get into your Friday, and really that continues right on through the weekend. 40% shot in Belle Glade for storms on your Friday evening, 40% shot for Miami as well. We're on the drier side towards the Keys. We are far away from the front, and of course, we're not as susceptible to those sea breeze storms as you need really that land-sea interaction to get the sea breeze rocking and rolling. On to the tropics, and again, we have Hurricane Lee, Category 2 hurricane. This one is going to continue to move away. I had the camera positioned right here where the storm's kind of out of view, just to show you. Yesterday, we were looking at that storm right there, and now it has moved as expected and as has been expected, moving north. And there is that official wind movement direction north at about 12 miles an hour. All right, so now I'm going to zoom in actually to where the storm is. It is starting to lose its punch. We showed you this yesterday, and that was to be also expected. That's courtesy of what was Hurricane Franklin, cooling the waters down out ahead of it. But notice all the cloud motion here. We're starting to see that dip in the jet stream that's kind of way out here. Yank, Lee, straight north. And you can see that by the way that the upper level clouds are going too. Everything's being pulled to the north. We don't have a very well-defined compact disc-like looking thing anymore. And now everything is moving in that direction. Again, unfortunately, this is not a fish storm. It's not coming to Florida, but it's not a fish storm. This is going to bring some pretty significant impacts to parts of New England and the Canadian Maritimes as well. So I want to be clear about that. For us, though, we are looking at some very dangerous beach conditions. It is going to be nasty along the Florida beaches, especially, say, about from north of Fort Pierce. I think we're doing okay in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. West Palm looking good. Our wave height's at about 1 to 3 feet. But nonetheless, from Jacksonville through Daytona Beach into Merritt Island, getting into Ponce Inlet as well, through Sebastian, Fort Pierce, again, that's where we're really going to see the wave heights, where you see the green there, of about 6 to 9 feet. So again, some big waves. The rip current risk, of course, is going to be through the roof through the weekend. Just be mindful of that. Could have some beach erosion as well. Things steadily improve for the second half of the weekend, although you see that light green there showing up just offshore. Still dealing with wave heights maybe on the order of 3 to 6 feet through your Saturday into Sunday as well. Full tropical update on the Atlantic Basin. Again, nothing is coming to Florida in the short term. We have a lot of things out there. Here is Lee, of course, just showed you that. There is Margot, and then here is Invest 97L that's still hanging out, still very unorganized at this time. Still has a high opportunity to develop, but you see the development zone here in red pointed away. Here we are over here in Florida, and we're doing okay. This one may behave similarly to Lee in the sense that it might just get west and then it might try to go up, maybe impacting New England, maybe the Canadian Maritimes. Again, this thing is so far out there into the future, though. There's a lot of time to watch it to see how the steering currents kind of recover post Margot eating through the Bermuda High, and then Lee eating on the western side of the Bermuda High as well. So there needs some time to recover and then to get some better data on this one as well. But this does not appear like it is coming to Florida either. You see the computer models here. Hurricane Center loves the TVCon model. That's that orange one there. That's a consensus model. So it's a couple of different models that go in there into the consensus of that, taking it closer to Bermuda. So again, we're going to have to watch Bermuda as we've kind of been in the crosshairs of a few of these things this hurricane season, especially over the last few weeks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you found this content helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to stay updated on all things Florida weather, especially as we continue through the peak of hurricane season and beyond, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that. That notification bell will let you know anytime we post new content, and we will catch you next time.